In today's video, I want to cover a subject and a topic that I don't really see anybody really talking about out there. That is energy traps, energy ambushes, psychic sabotage, psychological warfare waged against the human imagination. These are psychic and psychological ambushes. By that I mean, you must remember that the ego is the nucleus of all illusions, because the ego is a conduit through which the darkness enters this material realm. Set aside the fact that it exists within all things, not just human beings, but every animal, every creature, every mammal, reptile, amphibian, invertebrate, whatever science, deems these things to be. They all have egos, feelings and emotions, predatory reflexes and impulses, instincts, and so on. But everything comes from source, so therefore everything is source. Source is evil, source is good, source is light, dark, all of it. So it's impossible to not be source, no matter how much you think you're not. You're only deluding yourself by living in a delusional fantasy world, and that is where your conflict arises, when you try to run counter or contrary to the very nature of what is woven into the fabric of your soul. And that's a whole other video, but what I'm going to touch on today briefly is, whenever you're focusing on something of a substantial nature, like your soul's missions or your life's purposes, the darkness will always attempt to distract you, garnering your attention through illusions, by satiating the morbid curiosities of the egocentric imagination. That means that you become transfixed on apathy, violence, stoicism, gratuitous sex, things like that. You become focused on it. That's the premise of media. Media is a vehicle through which they deliver their unconscious subliminal implantations in the garden of your imagination. And this is what contaminates your imagination with fear and isolation and loneliness, indecisiveness, uncertainty, doubt, trepidation, paranoia. That's how they do it. Think of media as the delivery system, the delivery mechanism to which they take their implantation and bury it in your mind. That's exactly what they do. It's a nefarious implantation. Once it's in your mind through unconscious social programming, flash editing, it's subliminal messaging, it goes on and on. They have many ways of doing it. But once it's in there, your physical mind is going to go to work on manifesting whatever this thing is that has just been delivered into it. And through reinforcement of shadow projection and dark autosuggestion, the placebo effect kicks in. So the mind is like, oh, this is real. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this thing that I don't know what it is, and I'm going to help it become whatever it wants to be through to fruition. So that's what happens. So if you're focusing on something of substance in your life, or your life is going really great, or you're progressing, you're transforming, you're growing, you're evolving, you're ascending, you're rising, you're elevating yourself, you're enlightening yourself, you're becoming more and more aware, what's going to happen is you're going to notice that negative people are all of a sudden going to pop up in your life. See them as your teachers. This is the universe doing this. This isn't just happening on its own. But whenever you are trying to focus on something of a positive, constructive, productive nature, the way the universe works is the universe is going to test you to see if you are who and what you believe yourself to be, and what you're saying and who you're saying you are. God's going to be like, okay, you say you're this really positive person that can't be taken down, and you're unwavering, and you're indefatigable, and you're insufferable, and you have this incredible intestinal fortitude. Well, let me test to see if that's true. And that's what happens. These experiences arrive in your reality to test you. So you could be thinking, oh, I'm a great person, I'm so loving and kind and warm and positive and smiling and happy. And then you could be on the road driving somewhere, somebody cuts you off or tailgates you, and boom, that's a test. The universe is testing you to see if you are who you believe yourself to be, or what you believe yourself to be. Many, 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 many people I've encountered, they profess to be these loving, positive, shiny, bright, happy people. These spiritualists who are just so independently, separate from anything negative. They're incapable of ever being angry. They've never raised their voice. They've never done anything wrong. They whisper. They never raise their hand in anger. All of this nonsense. But as soon as you disagree with something, one of their beliefs, oh, that's when the talons and the fangs and the claws come out. And that's who they really are. That's when they show you the real true person. Like alcohol is the great inhibition remover. You know, if you really want to see who somebody is, contradict their belief systems, and you watch how fast they will show you their true nature. These are disingenuous spiritualists. They live in a false light, false positive, false peace existence in a meditative Buddha bubble, and they live in a delusional fantasy world. And that is the God's honest truth. So what happens is, whenever you're doing really great in your life, the darkness, God, will test that. So like, let's say you're focusing on a project. You want to start a home-based business, or you want to become an entrepreneur, or whatever it is. The universe will encourage you, but they'll also test you. You know, because you're focusing all of your creative energies on this thing. And when you focus on one thing long enough, you will manifest it. But the darkness goes, hey, over here, look, over here, hey, look. And then you're going to go, huh? What? And then you're going to go over there, and then that thing you were working on is not going to have your energy anymore. It's not going to have your consistent positive vibrational energy that's a life force needed to animate this thing into fruition. So therefore, it's going to be left hanging. And that's exactly how the darkness tests you. And then what happens is, once it draws your attention in, it garners your attention, you establish a connection to it. And once that connection is established, that's when shadow projection and dark autosuggestion kick in. Then they begin lowering your vibration, slowing you down. Then all that progress and transformative potential is all gone. So you're back to square one again. Because the universe is getting you to realize you are not who and what you think you are. You are not the strong person, the positive person, the unwavering person you believe yourself to be. You got to get right with that. You got to stop lying to yourself, because you're not lying to God. You can lie to other people and you can lie to yourself, but you cannot lie to the universe. I don't care how good you think you are. Jesus told me once, if they knew the consequences, they would never commit the crime. Now, all these people in the world, these serial killers, rapists, pedophiles, murderers, mafia, all these heinous criminals, they believe there's a perfect crime because human eyes are not watching them. You can kill somebody, put them in a wood chipper, bury them in a swamp, and nobody saw anything. Oh, that's a perfect crime. We got away with it. No, you didn't. No, you didn't, because there is no such thing as a perfect crime, because the eyes of God are watching you all the time. You know, we are inside the body of God. We are of God. We are source. This is God. Everything you love, everything you hate, everything you mediocre in your life, things you're on the fence about. It doesn't matter what you believe. The truth negates belief. The universe has been around longer than we have, and when we're gone, and humanity will reach its terminus, trust me, and then the universe will go on to the next test subject, because this is a revelation earth. This is an assessment platform. This was not created for human beings. Absolutely not, because if this earth was created for human beings, we would be the first species on it, and we would be the oldest. Dinosaurs were here long before us, and they're gone. There's so many species of animals that had their shot, and then, you know, for whatever reason, they were selected for extinction, either natural extinction or, you know, artificially induced, whereby humanity is the only species that causes all of the other species to go extinct. That's what we do. So perhaps we're serving a role in ridding the earth of species that have served their time, and now they're going to do something else on another earth. I don't know. But just be aware. Whenever you're vibrating high, the darkness will always try to knock you down. Whenever you're doing good, the shadows will always try to suffocate that light. They will try to choke you out. They will try to eclipse your light. They will try to block you, veil you, enshroud you, blanket you, suffocate you, cover you, pull you down, knock you down, tear you down, fill your mind with all kinds of nonsense until you get to believe, oh, maybe I'm not that good, maybe this won't work. That's doubt, which is the ego. Remember what I said from the beginning. The ego is the nucleus of all illusions, because it is a conduit through which the darkness perpetuates its madness in this physical realm. Alchemy is the relationship between consciousness and matter. You must understand that as much as we are a part of the light, we are a part of the darkness, tantamount, equal, equivalent, one. We are comprised of two hemispheres, divine consciousness, which is the light, and demonic unconsciousness, which is the dark. When you merge them together in harmonic convergence, in creative unity, you wind up with a singular, cohesive element of eternal life. That is reality, that we are a blending of the two. You can't run hot and cold with the universe. You have to learn to blend these temperatures together to get a nice warm stream. That's what the stream that you live in. That's life. That's a beautiful life you have right there. We are of the light, of the dark, hot and cold. Blend them together like a faucet. If you're at a faucet, you see hot on the left and cold on the right, or the other way around. And you see the spout in the middle. Now you're going to modulate things and manipulate those temperature controls until that water comes out at the precise temperature that makes you comfortable. That's how you have to get with your life. You have to balance and blend and mix these temperature controls until the right temperature is pouring out of that spout, which is your prosperity, your health, wealth, happiness, abundance, peace, and all of the good things that you want. You got to stop lying to yourself and believing that you're only positive, only happy, only kind. No being in the cosmos is only anything, not even God. So how can you be? God created evil, so how could you be separate from that? Explain that to me. God is darkness. God is hatred. All these things that, you've been made to believe that God is this lofty, insecure little white guy living up in the clouds with one son who wrote one book in the kingdom with all these Caucasian cherubs. It's just nonsense. It's nonsense. Where do you think evil came from? Do you think it gave birth to itself? Do they not refer to Satan as the prince of darkness? Who do you believe to be the king? I was told a long time ago that only God can scare the hell out of the devil. There are places in the cosmos so evil, even Satan would not be allowed entrance into. And there's places so sublime and so pure that not even Jesus would be able to walk through it. So we don't even know what's on the mind of God. Not even Jesus does. So how could we? So everything that I profess in these videos is not, is not the truth. It's my connection to the universe. You should never misconstrue these words as being the absolute truth, because there's no such thing. It doesn't exist. So let me leave you with this thought. Whenever you're working on something positive, be cognizant that the darkness is working hard to try to topple you from that, because they don't want you to do good. They don't want you to progress. They don't want you to transform and expand and grow. They don't want you to flourish and blossom and rise in the garden of your own imagination. They don't want that. But recognize that your inner darkness is working in tandem with the external darkness of the outer world, because they're one and the same. So you have to monitor your inner monologue and your internal dialogue that you're having with yourself and the cosmos. It has to be in alignment with your external outer dialogue that you have with people in this world. You can't have an inner chatter of, I hate this world, I can't stand this, but your outer chatter is, oh, I love you guys, everybody's beautiful. Then you're being disingenuous. The two have to be in alignment, because you're not fooling God. You're only fooling yourself. So everything has to be in proper alignment. And in order for that to happen, you have to not be distracted by the illusions. You have to be strong enough and smart enough and wise enough and cognizant enough to say, that's a bunch of BS. I'm not going to fool for it. I'm not going to fall for it. I'm not going to be a fool. I'm not going to be the same fish taking the same bait on the same hook and getting pulled into the boat every time. I'm done. And that's when you're going to learn and wake up and grow and not fall for the same bait every time, because that's basically what it is. It's bait set right before you to garner your attention, to establish a connection, and to destroy everything positive in your life. And that comes in the form of people too. Have a blessed day.